Hi there. Again, this is Kennedy. I'll be doing my heart and lung sounds assessment. And again, I'd like to just remind or say this again that unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing the assessment on somebody else, but I'll be doing it on myself, talk through it, and explain what I'm doing. Um, because like I said, I came into contact, suspiciously came into contact with somebody that's COVID 19 positive, and I'm self isolating at the moment. Right. And I do apologize for any inconvenience as you look at this video. So anyway, going started with the heart sounds. First off, of course, we're gonna knock the door. Say hello, introduce ourselves, explain what we're there to do, wash our hands, do the hygiene, and most importantly as well is to make sure we've got the right patient, check the identifiers, name, date of birth, and all that good stuff. Once that's out of the way, then we can begin our assessment. For the heart assessment, the best position for probably the patient is to have the patient supine, laying down, hopefully, or at least ideally, is to have take their top clothing off. Or maybe if they have a gown, maybe you should be able to access the skin to skin because that's the best thing to do. That's best practice. First off, might be important to know the underlying condition the patient might have. Maybe it's good to know that patient maybe has a heart failure, has a any other condition really that might be relevant to assessing their heart and lung sounds. Um, for the lung sounds, maybe it might be necessary to know if they have COPD, they have really any other condition pertaining to your lungs. It probably they've had a pneumectomy, and we shouldn't really listen or hear anything on the side they took their lobectomy or anything like that. So when it gets started with the heart, first of all, like I said, once you collect the health history and ask some questions regarding the history, we're going to listen to the heart. To listen to the heart, we're going to follow we're going to follow the path. And the path, like the way I'll start or how I like to remember it, is ape to man. And we're gonna start on the right side. This being my right side, we're gonna put it right over there, and listen to that. Listen to that. We should be able to hear a good rhythm, a good regular. You listen for regularity. Listen, how fast it's going. If you listen to a kid, of course, it should be faster, and for age appropriate, you should be able to consider that as well. Um, Once you get that, you come over here on your left, and that should be your pulmonic. This was your aortic, this should be your pulmonic. You listen to that. You come on down again over here, you listen to that as well. And finally, you finish down here at your apex. And that should be your point of maximal. I don't know if you can see, but that should be your point of maximal pulsation. And you should be able to listen to that. Maybe listen to that for 60 seconds. Get your watch and listen to that for 60 seconds, and that should give you a good number. Once you're done doing that, you're gonna flip your stethoscope, and you're gonna listen again on the same order you went through. And you might be able to hear anything, or you might not, depending if they have a murmur or any other, if they have a valve regurgitation, you might hear that. Again, for the same order, you go up and down, and you go up and down, and again maybe if you hear something, count it for a good 60 minutes. Um, Maybe I could count mine, see how it's gonna be. Just gonna put it under. Okay, and I got 64 And it's a good lub dub sound that you want to hear, and it's pretty regular. So that's I got that's done. All right, that should be pretty much it for our heart sounds. Now moving on to your lung sounds. Again, ideally, if the patient is supine. Um, of course, if you have a heart failure patient, probably it's probably not gonna be possible for them to be supine, depending on the severity. Probably have them be on a Fowler or semi-Fowler position. All right, and to do the lung sounds, we're gonna do a pardon, and you're gonna listen. I'm just gonna demonstrate the pardon, and you're gonna listen for a good few seconds as the patient breathes in and out. First off, you're gonna start over here. You listen, breathe in and out. You listen, breathe in and out. And you just kind of come down as you go. You listen, listen again. I don't know if you can see, but I'm gonna hold my camera just so you can see it very well. And keep going down again, the same pattern. Then you kind of come on the other side a little bit again, and then finally on the lower lobe, and then that's where you probably want to hear most of your you should really pay attention to that. You hear that now as you hear those sounds. We want to hear do you hear any crackles, you any wheezes, you hear any ronchi, things like that, any rubbing, you hear things like that. And of course, like I said, if you collected your information beforehand, if they had a pneumotomy, for example, if they have a chest tube, there could be a variation of that. Again, once you finish the posterior side of the lung, you want to move once you finish the anterior side of the lung, you want to move to the posterior, and you follow the same order really. You should have at least at least eight different, and you go kind of zigzag motion as you ask your patient to breathe. And if they can't breathe, just kind of go with what they can, because sometimes the patient is too sick to breathe. As you do that, as you assess the lungs. Really, and that should be that should be pretty much your heart and lung sound assessment. Thank you. And again, like I said, I apologize. I'm not able really to leave the house, and I really don't want to infect anybody else. I don't know am I infected yet. I haven't taken the test. And again, I do appreciate your cooperation and understanding.